It's time for Taking Care of Business on Midlands 103. With thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and Let's Talk Business.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Taking Care of Business. I'm Ronan Berry, this is Midlands 103, and coming up over the next hour, Joe Rossa of Old Fort Piercing and Tattoo in Portlaoise. They've just marked 5 years in business. He'll be in with me to discuss creativity, trust, trends and what it takes to run a specialist business in the Midlands. What's really interesting is his own journey into piercing. It's not exactly a linear career path. Find out exactly what happened very, very soon. Also, Clémence, Jamet from Guaranteed Irish and Oonagh from Skillnet Innovation Exchange will be here to introduce Digital for Growth, a new initiative designed to help Irish businesses move from AI ambition to practical implementation. I mean, AI is everywhere now. It is constantly a source of discussion amongst business owners, amongst business people. And yes, we do need to try and get a handle of it. But also we need to see how it can truly benefit our business and how we can do so safely and in a secure way and in a way that benefits people, benefits society, benefits our communities as well. So looking forward to learning about that new Skillnet innovation that's coming up as well. So that's coming up just after 7:30 this evening. And if my voice sounds a teeny bit deeper this evening, I was at the Midlands 103 Customer Service Awards last night and I was emceeing along with Will Faulkner and Lorraine McCormack and Tilly Dawson-Stanley. And then when you're addressing a room of almost 500 people, even though you have a microphone, you got to shout a little bit. So if I'm a tiny bit hoarse, please forgive me for that this evening. We had a fantastic night. So later on, I'll bring you some snippets from that and we'll listen to some of the winners and some of those recognised on the night for their exceptional customer service. And as always, some beautiful stories popped out about people setting up businesses almost on a whim. Some people had a long-term plan, they made career changes to do it. Some people were nearly forced into it, but they've built great businesses, many of whom were recognised at those awards last night. So as I said, bring you some clips on that. If you want to join this evening's conversation, you can get me here in the studio by text or WhatsApp on 083 3010 103, powered by Lamb Brothers Toyota on the Arden Road in Tullamore. But up first this evening, we're going to go to a business that's also celebrating a major milestone, because glamping was still a relatively unknown concept in Ireland when Kyra and Barry Fingleton launched Glamping Under the Stars in Laois 10 years ago. Since then, they've welcomed more than 1,000 families, including a very, very famous guest recently, built an award-winning tourism business and helped showcase the Midlands as a destination for nature-based escapes. And as they celebrate the decade, they're also preparing to launch a major expansion featuring luxury treehouse-style cabins and a fully accessible eco-lodge. Joining me now is co-founder Kyra Fingleton. Kyra, very good evening. When you and Barry first opened Glamping Under the Stars 10 years ago, did you ever think you'd be here a decade later, not just celebrating the milestone, but preparing for a major expansion?
Hi, Ronan. To be honest, no. It's really amazing looking back over those years how far we have come. We started really on a shoestring budget with very little tourism experience, and it was kind of a suck it and see sort of situation. It was something we both wanted to try. We noticed a gap in the market, especially in Laois and in glamping. You can tell by my accent I'm from the UK, and there's a sort of big glamping business and industry over there that's been running a little bit longer than it has in Ireland. So, we noticed that there wasn't very much glamping going on. And we said, maybe there's something in this business and we can bring it to Laois. But yeah, we certainly had no idea that we'd be where we are now with it.
How close are you now to your original vision? Because you always struck me as people who knew what you wanted. You wanted to build something different, something high quality. How close are you now as you look back? Or did you rip up the plans entirely and restart again?
Yeah, I think it sort of evolved fairly naturally as we went along. I mean, we definitely started with a vision of making it family friendly. We've 3 kids ourselves, and at the time we started, they were all very small. Our youngest daughter was only 1.5 years, so we were trying to think of how to serve families who wanted to come on holidays with 2 and 3 and 4 kids. And a lot of hotels don't really cater for that. So having something a bit more outdoor, a bit more adventure-based, but still luxurious and fun was definitely something we wanted to achieve. And definitely the fun quirk factor was something that we wanted to keep throughout. So we started with 3 bell tents, and we had a little horse-drawn wagon on loan from a brother-in-law who ran a tourism business. And we grew that to add a couple of wooden cabins and a shepherd's hut, and that was our meadow site. And then 5 years ago, we set up our hobbit village. So there's 6 grass-roofed hobbit houses with round doors and all that kind of thing. So that was definitely keeping the quirkiness alive and appealing to families who wanted a sense of adventure and kind of that fairy tale. And now, at the point of 10 years, we're building these really beautiful, 3 beautiful self-catering glamping structures, but they're very high-end. The whole business, the whole industry has evolved, and customer expectations have evolved as well. And a tent in a field just won't cut it anymore. And
I can imagine that was the general public's probably initial scepticism. Oh, it's just a hobbit village or it's a hobbit hut in a field. But you always wanted that high-end experience too, and clearly your customers are looking for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the guests that come to us have never camped before. They're much more, perhaps have had experience with hotels or self-catering houses, and they're kind of looking for that level of comfort. But yet they want the campfire. They want to be immersed in nature, hear the birds singing, and sit out under the stars at the campfire in the evening time. So this is kind of the best of both.
And from the start, like, did it take many years or many seasons for the business to kind of gain that brand identity? Did that increase the bookings, increase the footfall? Because I think years ago you had you weren't open certain times of the year as well. What's it like now as you look at your diaries for 2026 into 2027?
Yeah, definitely things have changed that way. I mean, at first people were a bit nonplussed with the whole concept of glamping, and we had to nearly explain what they should expect, whereas now obviously it's a bit more mainstream. Most people have heard of it and have an understanding. But also, better still, a lot of people have heard of us, have heard of our business, and they are actually actively searching for Glamping Under the Stars when they're going into a search. And because we've been around a while and we've, been on Midlands 103 and various other things, there's a bit more information about us online, for example. And with so many guests who've come year on year, people who've been with us since the start, who've come back every year. And so that has built and built. So we have a really lovely, loyal following of guests who've pretty much become friends at this stage.
Did the period of lockdowns and reopenings and lockdowns again, and then the focus and the shift towards the staycation, did that have a big impact on your business?
Oh, totally. I mean, it was a stressful time when the lockdowns came first, because we were just on the verge of launching our Hobbit village, and we'd invested. We did get some grant funding for it, but we had invested money ourselves, and we were just on the cusp of launching it. And then suddenly we were thrown into lockdown, and kind of tearing our hair out at that stage. It's one of the low points, I suppose. But the upside of that was that when we did open, we were absolutely rammed. We were full to busting with people who were desperate to come and stay because they couldn't really go abroad, or they were afraid to travel. And then for the year or two after that, we'd noticed a big upsurge in extended family groups coming with, granny and granddad, all the cousins coming, because they just wanted to be together after being locked down and separated for that period. So it definitely had a massive effect, some negative and some positive. I'd say overall we probably did okay.
And it probably introduced a whole swathe of other people into glamping and showed them what it can be and that it can be a quality experience. And of course, based in a great part of the country with great surroundings and lots to do around you. And that's been a key driver for you too, like really promoting County Laois and the wider Midlands as just a great place to have a holiday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I suppose I'm looking at Laois and the Midlands of Ireland with maybe fresh eyes, because, I didn't grow up here, and I came to it and just thought it was a beautiful place to live and work and come on holidays. And of course, I've got guests coming now from other parts of Ireland, but also friends and family come to visit, and they just can't get enough of Laois. They can't believe they've never heard of it. Places like the Rock of Dunamace, they can't believe that it's free to go and visit that. And if it was in the UK, there'd definitely be a charge to go in and look around. And
that's it. And there's so many countries that just don't have history like that as well. So it's completely different for them too. But all that growth in the business and the move towards staycations and opening people's eyes to the possibilities with glamping, did that then start this thought process of, right, we need to expand, we need to add more to this facility, because you applied for some Just Transition funding then as part of this latest expansion plan?
That's right. Yeah, we were very lucky to get some investment from Just Transition, it's doing great things for the Midlands. There's lots of new exciting businesses opening up, and I think they could see potential in our business because we'd made it work this far, and we'd already expanded into the Hobbit village, and we still were turning people away, especially in the peak times, in the summer times. But also with the new accommodation that we're putting together, it's going to be definitely year-round opening for us, because there's little kitchens inside and they all have bathrooms inside. They're full houses really, so they're going to be very, very comfortable indeed. And guests coming from overseas could make Laois their base. I mean, it's so central. You can do your tour of Ireland from here rather than just making it a one-night stay or a drive-through location.
Absolutely. And when do you plan to has construction started, or what's in the pipeline and the timeline in terms of starting and getting it up and running?
Yeah, we're at a very exciting stage actually. It's all hands on deck at the moment, and we're hoping to have them open for August. So I'm going to be launching bookings on the website in the next couple of weeks, if not before, once we get the go-ahead from the builder. So things are happening at a rate of knots.
Fantastic. That's really exciting as well. I was expecting to say maybe later next year or into 2028 or something. No, August is not too far away as well. And you're constantly adding to the offering, because you recently, did you qualify as a yoga instructor, and that's something you want to bring to Glamping Under Stars too?
Yes, that's right. Yes. I mean, I've been practicing yoga for maybe 20 years at this stage, but just in the last year, I decided to do the yoga teacher training and got qualified. And I'm hoping to bring it to Glamping Under the Stars through the summer on a sort of ad hoc basis for guests who want to join me in the meadow. But also it's starting to attract interest from people who want to do wellness weekends and retreats, which is another growing area for us. So it's all come together really at the right time.
Absolutely. And again, a potential high-end market there too, that when you've got the right facilities, you can bring people in, it can attract them. You're showing off Laois in the wider Midlands too. Sounds like a lot is going really, really well for you, Kyra. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. I think it's incredible to be 10 years in and to, far from resting on your laurels, looking at the next phase and the next phase after that. So say hello to Barry and all the family, and it's lovely to hear that they're growing up with the business too, and it sounds like there's a good future ahead for it. Thanks, Kyra.
Oh, thanks a million, Ronan. There
we go. What a fantastic example of somebody just having an idea, taking a chance and doing it right and developing a lovely business. And as Kyra points out, it wasn't all plain sailing. There were challenges in between, but look at what they've built already, and can't wait to see what the new part looks like as well. Going to be open in August, so well done to Barry and Kyra Fingleton there and all the gang involved in Glamping Under the Stars. Time for me to take a quick break. After that, we're going to meet another Laois business owner. This time celebrating 5 years in business, but it's a first for me on the show because I've never had the owner of a piercing and tattoo studio with me before. So we'll find out all the ins and outs of that business.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Still to come on the show this evening, you'll find out about a new Digital for Growth initiative designed to help Irish businesses move from AI ambition to practical implementation. It's a joint initiative between Guaranteed Irish and Skillnet Innovation Exchange. So we'll get some insights into it, find out how you can get involved and look at exactly the challenges for Irish businesses that that programme is hoping to address, because like I said at the start of the show, AI is kind of everywhere. It's in every conversation nearly in the workplace at this point in time. Although I think I know one business that, whilst it might help as a productivity tool, I don't think it'll actually replace the people. Certainly I hope it doesn't. If it comes to tattooing and piercing, it is very much an art form, and when it's done right, there's a business that grows up around it, and I'm sure there's plenty of regulation, there's plenty of challenges, but I'm sure there's a great love and appreciation for what you do and the craft and the art that you do. So let's find out exactly what that business is like, because Joe Rossa from Old Fort Piercing and Tattoo in Portlaoise is here with me in studio now. They're a family-run studio based on Church Street, and they've just marked 5 years in business. And like I said at the top of the show, Joe's journey into piercing was not a kind of a linear career path, and COVID and pandemics and lockdowns had a big role in that. Evening, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
We always have to mention COVID and pandemics and that, but a bit of a seminal moment for yourself, because you were a musician, full-time musician, and the music career kind of took a bit of a wobble, did it, during those lockdowns?
Yeah, no, I was a full-time musician. I was gigging, touring, releasing records. All of that was very busy, just as lockdown hit. And as many people have probably also experienced, I got a call from my agent one day, and he said, it's all cancelled. A year's worth of gigs were cancelled, and everything that I was booked in for was just shut down. So I was left sitting with nothing to do, trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And piercing was never something that I saw myself doing. It's definitely something I was really interested in, and I love art. I've always loved art, tattoos, anything alternative. But I never really sat down and said, okay, this is what I want to do with my life, until my partner at the time was doing an apprenticeship in another shop in Portlaoise. And just after the first lockdown ended, I believe, they were kind of inundated with people who had been waiting for months to get piercings and tattoos. So I was in helping out, and I ended up just helping more and more with things like bookings, consent forms, and just getting more involved in it, while also simultaneously realising that it was something that I loved, and just being surrounded by the art and the culture and even the community that surrounds it. So another lockdown hit, and we were sitting there wondering what to do next, and someone had an idea, maybe we'll open a shop. And it kind of snowballed from there. Once the last lockdown ended, we had our lease signed, we were ready to go, and through the friends I made just helping out in other shops, I met some incredible artists who were kind of my first go-tos. So Mick has been with us from the start. And I always said if I ever opened a piercing shop, Mick would be the first person I go to. And I think it just kind of worked out perfectly in a way.
Was opening it in the centre of Portlaoise, was that, say, something that you said, no, we want to do this in Portlaoise? Was that maybe the best option he had at the time? And had you any concerns about trying to open a studio like this outside of, say, the larger urban areas?
I think opening a studio outside of a large town would be more of a struggle. We were lucky enough that we lived in town, and unfortunately a lot of other businesses had closed during the lockdown, so there was a lot of units there that were just sitting there, and like we'd walk by them every day. I'd do my lockdown walks, and I'd walk by all these empty buildings, and there was one in particular that I just kept, anytime I came around to, I was like, this would be a perfect place for a shop. But Portlaoise, I'm from Dublin originally. I moved to Portlaoise, and the second I moved into town, I said, this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. I'm going to live and work here and just be as much a part of the community as I could be. So it was always, Portlaoise was always where I was going to be.
But discovering a love of a craft, of, as you say, a lifestyle, of a culture, and then opening a business too, like, it's not a simple leap to make, I'd imagine. No. Or did you just go, you just knew it was for you anyway? Were there any challenges at that time? Or, because sometimes just getting stuck in can often be the best approach. Yeah,
I mean, I'm a bit of a dreamer, and I dive right into things, and I figure it out as I'm going as well. I definitely didn't anticipate the amount of behind the scenes work that comes with running a business. So there was a lot of learning on the fly. But also I think given the time that we opened, there was a lot of challenges in terms of just even getting, like, a lot of our stuff is PPE, so it's gloves and all that kind of stuff, which were almost impossible to get at the start. But no, there's so many challenges. A lot of it is really just about learning. Just always learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah, and I think that's probably something most business owners will actually be happy enough to admit that they are always learning and nobody knows all the answers. And if you probably knew everything, you wouldn't actually start in the first place. But in terms of honing your own craft, because piercing, people might know a lot about it, but people who are interested obviously will, but it's very technical. You actually told me off air there's a lot of mathematics involved in this. Tell me, I'm intrigued by that now.
Maybe it's just me. But like I was saying, there's so many right ways to pierce. But I tend to be an overthinker. I tend to be very highly critical of myself and very hyper analytical. But I'd be a fan of really technical piercings, things that would challenge me. And the difference between tattooing and piercing is tattooing is an art. And a lot of people have that skill. There's some people that don't. I don't have that skill. I couldn't draw to save my life. My 4-year-old draws better than I do. But with piercing, there's a lot of, I would consider it a craft, and it's very technical in another way. There's a lot of considerations about anatomy, vascularity, angles. I learned so much about the makeup of different metals because that is a huge, huge part of it.
And obviously, I assume people come in with their own ideas or concepts for piercings as well. You got to work at that level, that design, and bring that professional skill set, making sure you've got the right metals and all the right procedures. Like, it sounds fascinating.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, not every piercing suits everyone. Everyone's built differently. Not everyone has the anatomy for certain piercings. But that's what makes it fun and challenging, is finding what will work best for them. Because if you even just single out the ear, nobody's ear is identical to the person next to them. And a helix piercing on one person might look totally different to another person. Might be completely impossible to do, depending on the person. But there's always something there that you can work with, and they'd be the ones that I'd be the biggest fan of.
Are there any body parts that you don't work with, without giving away any secrets now?
Anything can be pierced. And I've done a lot of interesting ones that I won't mention. But there is definitely I blame TikTok for a lot of there's a trend now of people trying to get piercings that are quite damaging. So a massive part of my job is education as well. Yeah.
And equally, I'd imagine, applies to tattooing, because like any service, like anything, you can get your house painted cheaply if you want, or you can get it done right and professionally, and it applies to pretty much every business out there. When it comes to sort of upholding those standards, clearly, people don't just walk in and get stuff done. There's a kind of a client journey on that. You're working with them to get what they need as well. Demand then obviously has been sufficient and good to you that you've sustained the business for 5 years already and are growing a well-recognised brand at this stage. Yeah,
it's actually been incredible. In my mind going into it, I was like, we'll try this out. We'll do our best. It might start off slow, but I remember the first day we opened, there was a line out the door before we even got there. And we've been lucky enough that there's been dips and valleys, but consistently we've had a lot of return customers. And I think above all else, when you can have people coming back, and we've had people coming up to us for 5 years now, so you can imagine how many tattoos they have.
Yeah. And is that somebody getting a design concept with a 5-10 year plan in mind, or sometimes people just maybe get them to mark certain occasions, or what kind of drives demand normally for people?
It's something I reflect on a lot, actually. Everyone has a story. Everyone that sits down in that seat has a story. They have a reason. Might not be something super dramatic or really interesting, but everyone has a different reason for getting a tattoo. There's people that will come in and they'll get a small one that takes 20 minutes, and they'll get another one the next week and another one the next week. I'm one of those people that I'll chip away at little tattoos on my leg until it's filled up. But there are people who we have coming back to us that have been getting a back piece for a couple of years. But the range of people getting tattoos it's so much broader than I ever expected it to be. It's people who they just turned 18 and they're getting a tiny little thing to remember their grandmother. Or it's someone who is 86 and they're getting something to honour their grandchildren. Or it's someone who was born on a Saturday and they had too much money to spend.
Yeah, and again, it's everybody's own choice as well. Your location then probably serves you quite well, being so central. Yeah. People can get access to you quite easily, and that. So, does growing your brand, is it largely like Instagram or TikTok that really helps your business, and I assume word of mouth within the kind of community too?
That is something I rack my brain about every day. TikTok and Reels specifically are huge. We could put up the most perfect tattoo you've ever seen in your life as a picture there on Instagram. It'll get a couple of likes and a follow. Do a silly dance in the piercing room and you're going to get a lot of people. But word of mouth, above all else, is absolutely, it's the biggest driver of getting people in.
Yeah. Fantastic. So and I know people. Even you were, and we did an interview organised before I even knew, but you were actually shortlisted in the Customer Service Awards last night. And again, great indication that you're doing something right and really, really well. Future is looking very positive then.
I think so. I'm very excited. And even just to be at the Customer Service Awards and be nominated, to feel like I'm standing there amongst peers and not feel like an outsider. Because it's very easy to feel like the tattooing and piercing industry, it doesn't belong in the mainstream. But for me, just to be able to be there and chat to people who are from a salon or from some sort of factory or a Centra and know that they're all facing the same kind of problems that I do and going through the same thing, and we're kind of all on the same level, it's a huge honour.
Yeah, no, well done. It's a great story, and as I say, it's the first time I've had somebody that owns a tattoo and piercing studio, and it's a really fascinating insight into it, and it really jumps out from you how passionate and how careful you are about it and how dedicated, and I can understand why people come back to you and why people refer people to you, and great to hear that you are like on a main street in a Midlands town. Goes bucks the trend, goes against what people might have said was the right thing to do, but fair play to you. It's a great success story. Joe, thanks, and we'll have you back over again maybe in 5 years' time and see how you're getting on from there.
Thank you.
Thanks a million, Joe, and well done again. What a great story there. Joe Rossa from Old Fort Piercing and Tattoo in Portlaoise. So, if you've been thinking there and it's an itch you wanted to scratch, well, now you know where you can go to get that done in the most professional environment ever. And start planning, start designing, and give Joe and his team a shout if you need be. If you are a business owner, though, or a manager or an employee, and you're wondering about the role of AI in your business, well, there's lots of new training programs, initiatives out there. One, though, it's a collaboration between the Skillnet and Guaranteed Irish. You can find out about what that is and how you can be involved in just a couple of moments.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Guaranteed Irish and Skillnet Innovation Exchange have launched a new initiative called Digital for Growth. It's aimed at helping Irish businesses move beyond talking about AI and digital transformation and actually implement practical solutions that improve performance and growth. Well, joining me now are Clémence, Jamet, Head of Operations at Guaranteed Irish, and Oonagh Fox as well, Project Development at Skillnet Innovation Exchange. And they're here to discuss why so many businesses are struggling to bridge that gap and how this new partnership hopes to help them. And again, as I say, AI really, it's becoming such a common topic in nearly in every conversation amongst businesses at the minute. And a lot of us are still trying to get a handle of exactly what it can do, what its capabilities are, what the downfalls and pitfalls of it might be, and how we can go about setting some sort of set of rules and procedures and policies. So I guess a good place to start is to find out exactly what it does for business and how you can control it. Clémence, I suppose I'll start with you as well. Businesses are obviously very much aware now of the need for digital transformation. How was Digital for Growth first created?
Thanks, Ronan, and thanks for having us on the show. Guaranteed Irish, it's the national symbol of trust. We have a network of 2,500 member businesses employing 150,000 people, contributing 14 billion to the Irish economy. And at the core of our mission is really simple: is to support business that support Ireland. And what we're seeing at the moment, it's a really challenging time for our members and for Irish businesses. We are in an energy crisis and a cost of living crisis. And on top of that, businesses are trying to grow, digitize, manage costs, and you add AI and sustainability requirements. So it's a lot and a big challenge for our members. So a common theme is that our members and Irish business, they don't know where to start with AI and digital transformation. They don't know who to trust. And this is where we wanted to bring a partnership, a partner that could support our members with their challenges.
Do you notice that, like business, we've spoken about digital transformation for maybe 5-10 years now, but AI, certainly over the last 18 months, 2 years, has really just accelerated that conversation now. So businesses are probably realising we've got to adapt fairly quickly or face being left behind. Is that something you get from your members?
Yeah, definitely. It's that there's a lot of pressure on them to adopt AI. But if you look at data, like the ESRI had produced data last month, but only like 16% of SME have started adopting AI. So they're really behind compared to like the large multinational. So there is a gap now, and the small SMEs, can be left behind, and they don't really know where to start and what company to trust. What are the costs? Where do what is the first steps really?
And maybe the whole idea of trust and actually knowing what's safe to do, if you're handling data, if you're handling customer information, whatever that might be. I'm sure things like trust and that lack of knowledge around it have to be a huge factor. I'm going to bring Oonagh Fox into the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Oonagh's in project development at Skillnet, because Oonagh, of course, Skillnet generally is charged at really creating courses and initiatives to really be at the forefront of what businesses are looking for. How quickly did this Digital for Growth come about, and what key factors did you look at in designing this course?
Well, I suppose what we run is Skillnet Innovation Exchange, and that is a program that's been up and running now for 4 years, and it helps businesses solve digital transformation challenges by connecting them with innovative Irish SMEs that have the solution. So we feel we're kind of bridging that gap between, we know this is a good idea, we know we need to adopt digital, we know we need to adopt AI, but my God, we're busy, and how do you go about researching the landscape and talking to all the providers? So we short circuit all of that because we have a trusted membership of solutions providers. So the business comes to us with their challenge, and we help them find the right solutions provider for them. It's really cost effective, it's really time efficient, and we find that we've had great success with this, with Irish companies doing business with other Irish companies, doing deals and getting the outcome that they like, that they're looking for. So I suppose to answer your question, we've been doing this for 4 years now. It's really getting momentum. And when we spoke to Guaranteed Irish, they were very keen to bring this, I suppose, platform to their members and to allow them adopt digital transformation and AI solutions to, I suppose, enhance their performance and competitiveness of their businesses.
I'm sure any business owner listening will absolutely, what you said will resonate with them in terms of being so busy and not even knowing where to start. And yes, that's what we're told AI is going to do for us. It's going to take away all those big challenges and make us super efficient and make us work less. Is that the goal, I wonder?
Well, I think what it will do is not so much make us work less, but maybe make us work less at the kind of more repetitive tasks that are maybe not so rewarding, and free people up to work on more, productive tasks and actually, I suppose add more value to the business. That's certainly what we're seeing. Like, we feel that the conversation has changed enormously. Businesses are coming to us going, we know that AI can improve productivity, help with, our customers' experience of us, and do all these things. But their challenge is not so much that, I think they know it's a good idea and they know it can help their businesses, but it's kind of still new-ish. So how do we do this in a risk-free way, and how do we find solutions providers that we can really trust? And I suppose that's where ourselves and Guaranteed Irish have stepped in.
What areas do you focus on? So people might be keen to learn about the actual, new skills that are taught. Like, is it all around prompting and stuff like that, and the different platforms that are available? And again, maybe linking into those companies that are there within the country and showing use cases and what they have done, the great success so far, and maybe even some failures too, just to kind of show the other side of it.
Yeah, I suppose from our perspective, I wouldn't really we don't necessarily do training on AI. What we're doing is helping companies adopt AI. Now, we are providing training to help SME business owners understand AI and the different tools that is available to them and the best way to implement them to their existing businesses. where, so our training is very practical and adoption-led as opposed to awareness-led or policy-led or anything like that. So that's where we're different. We feel we've kind of moved from the awareness piece straight into the adoption piece, and that's really where we're focusing. But, you're absolutely right. There is risk, and there are, I think with adopting any solution, AI or any software solution or any automation solution, it is a risk, and you do have to make sure you get it right because, nobody wants to be left with something that it isn't working the way it was intended. And again, that's why we believe it's really important to have a network of companies that have tried and tested their solutions. They've got case studies, and they can work with companies to tailor make the solution to them. Like, it's definitely not a one size fits all with these solutions, and that's what we're seeing more and more, that we see our members collaborating with each other to come up with tailored solutions to fit each business as opposed to just to take it off the shelf, because that's sometimes where problems can emerge.
Absolutely, and that's very reflective of conversations that were happening over the last 5 or 10 years around ERP systems, or looking, companies maybe took that initial leap to try and digitalise, but without having the foundational work done and actually process mapping what they're doing and knowing what they want to digitalise. It's pretty much an impossible task, and there are some horror stories of big investments, but lots of companies get that right. And I guess, Clémence, like Oonagh has spoken there about linking Irish companies with other Irish companies that either have adopted AI or have been on that digital journey so far, or maybe are specialists in the area. Would people be surprised maybe to learn of the number of Irish companies who are really maybe at the forefront in terms of either using AI or also developing products that are AI driven?
For Guaranteed Irish and for Digital for Growth, we are really telling our members that if they have a challenge, the partnership can help them finding an Irish-based solution providers. They will be member of the Innovation Exchange, and from what Oonagh and her team have told me, there's plenty of Irish solution providers that can sort out our members' problems.
Absolutely. Oonagh, do you want to come in on that one there as well? I mean, would people be maybe surprised at the strength of Irish companies that are operating in that AI space?
Oh my God, without a doubt. Like, I think it's one of the main reasons that this, initiative was set up is because, we could see that the strength of our SME base and, our technology startup and scale up companies. But they were finding it very difficult to speak to the big buyers and the big companies and vice versa. But we're also seeing, just in terms of your AI question, like AI is kind of incorporated now nearly into everything. Like, we have businesses coming to us and they're not saying we need AI. They're saying we need to save time here, or we need to get better insights from our data there, or we need to improve customer service. And so, but the actual solution is AI enabled. So, it's almost like AI is, across the board into every solution. What, it's not necessarily the kind of lead technology necessarily, but it's certainly enabling that technology deliver the results for the business better. And I would say if you're looking at tech companies and digital solutions providers across the length and breadth of the country, you will find that they're all incorporating AI into their solutions in some shape or form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would agree with you on that. I think there's a lot of companies are looking at it and really looking at it in a deep way now, and starting to see how they begin even to take those first initial steps and then see about developing it more widely throughout the business too. I suppose the key thing for people listening, if they want to learn more about Digital for Growth or they want to try and get involved, then how can they go about doing that?
Guaranteed Irish members that can get in touch with us at Guaranteed Irish, and then we'll link them up with Oonagh and our team. And for any solution providers as well that is interested into Digital for Growth, we can link them up with Oonagh, and we can explain the methodology and what is required.
Absolutely, I think it's.
And we also we have a website, Ronan, the innovationexchange.ie, and that basically it has all the information. We've done over 30 deals to date between Irish companies. That's up on the website. All the companies that we work with, both from a challenge perspective and a solutions perspective. So I'd encourage anyone to go to the innovationexchange.ie, and they'll get absolutely all the info they need.
Absolutely, sounds absolutely perfect. A really worthwhile, really great initiative too, and it's lovely to have that Irish angle on it too. It's Irish companies helping Irish companies in this one,
exactly.
Because like that, even as my last guest there, Joe from the Tattoo and Piercing Studio said, even at the awards last night here in the Midlands, actually sharing your story with other businesses in different sectors, you realise a lot of the problems are common to most businesses, and the more linkage you can make, the more case studies and the more you can learn from people who have been there or are doing it already, the better everyone can gain from. Clémence and Oonagh, thank you so much for that this evening. Great initiative and all the best with it as you move forward.
Ronan, thank you very much.
Not at all. Thank you. An absolute pleasure as well. That's Clémence Jamet, Head of Operations at Guaranteed Irish, and Oonagh Fox in Project Development at Skillnet. And Oonagh basically is talking about Skillnet Innovation Exchange there. So giving us that website, look it up and see if there's a solution there for your business, because so many businesses around the Midlands here are members of Guaranteed Irish, but that offering is there. Definitely worth checking out, because I'm sure you probably are starting to think and wonder if AI can play a role in your business, or if you've started using it, how can you use it more? And how can you really get it to perform for you and deliver for your company? So, yeah, great to hear there's so many case studies and so many practical solutions out there on the market. I had just mentioned an award ceremony last night. It was, of course, the Midlands 103 Customer Service Awards. After the break, I'll bring you some quick highlights from what took place last night.
Taking care of business with thanks to the local enterprise offices of Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Find us on localenterprise.ie and let's talk business.
Plenty of tired heads around Midlands 103 this morning. The team here again pulled out all the stops last night at the 2026 Midlands 103 Customer Service Awards, because businesses across the region were celebrating after picking up awards at the Customer Service Awards. 61 awards were handed out at the Tullamore Court Hotel last night, recognising individuals and companies for their excellent service. Legal Firm of the Year was picked up by Byrne Carolyn Cunningham Solicitors in Athlone, while Damien Foy, TF Building Contractors from Road, took the title of Builder of the Year, and Optician of the Year was awarded to Infocus Opticians in Portlaoise. Midlands 103 Sinead Hubble and Daniel Boyne caught up with some of the members of the group.
Oh my God, it was so hard. It was genuinely so hard. Like, everybody really put themselves forward, were fantastic, and just it was impossible to make the decisions. I had to go over it multiple times.
Ruth Deegan from Country Blooms. Florist of the Year. I can't believe it. This is my 5th year in business, and I just owe it all to my family, and I actually can't believe it right now. So yeah, it's amazing.
Tell me, what's an everyday life like for a florist? Because it's a very creative role.
Manic.
It's manic, isn't it?
From washing bouquets to creating bridal bouquets, every day is completely different.
How did you train to be a florist, actually?
So I trained actually during COVID. So my story goes back to during COVID. I lost my dad just before COVID hit, and I decided to take up a course doing floristry. And I was like, I'm not doing wedding floristry, I'm not going to go that far. And then I said I'd go for it, and done the courses, and said, look, I'm going to start my own business.
PJ Murphy from Casey Agri.
And what did you win tonight?
Mechanic of the Year. Oh, sure, big achievement. Started my apprenticeship in 1997, so it'll be 30 years next year, so long road.
You've probably seen a lot of changes over the years.
Oh, big changes, yeah. Electronics, biggest thing. It's gone mad, so it is. You really want to go back to school now to fix a new tractor the way it's gone. Training's a big thing. It's a challenge every day, and looking forward to more of it. Just couldn't wait to get with school and get ahead. School wasn't for me. I just love fixing things. Love it. So still, after that length of time.
So Joey Candy, Burn Gym and Fitness, Port Arlington. We won Fitness Facility of the Year, and we're delighted to win it. Both of my businesses are in it, Willow and Green for Home Furnishings of the Year and Burn Gym, so we're glad to come home with one anyway.
Your face is just lit up when you've been talking about it, so it must mean a lot.
Oh yeah, we're less than a year in business, so we worked very hard, and customers always come first, especially with a fitness facility like that, and our clients are our number one priority. So.
And what made you decide to set up the gym?
Well, I had a furniture shop and I decided to cut it in half, basically, and there was an opening in the market in Port Arlington for a top quality fitness facility, so I kind of jumped on that and built it then. It is odd, but it works well together though, because the staff can help me lift furniture as well, so we need the muscles.
Hannah Kelly from Radiant by Hannah in Athlone. I can't believe I'm just after winning Beauty Therapist of the Year. It feels amazing. This is my second time to win in Midlands 103, and I didn't expect to. We're up against such competition this year. Unbelievable beauty therapist. So to be here, to be 38 weeks pregnant, ready
fantastic.
to go anytime.
I love the look.
I'm thrilled to be even considered, so thank you. We're actually celebrating 5 years of my business next week, and a baby on the way, and it's just phenomenal to still be considered and still be thought of. The Midlands 103 is our favourite event, so I was doing my very best to make it here tonight, and that's all I wanted to do, so I'm delighted.
And as a woman in business, you're having a baby, you run
Yes.
your own company, your own like beauty therapy place.
Yes.
Tell me, what's that like?
It's busy. Life is busy. I'm building a house with a baby coming.
Oh, you've a lot going on.
My poor husband is ready to divorce me any day now, but he can't now. It's too late. But we do love it, and we live and breathe it. And I think business, you have to live and breathe it to put everything into it, and that's what I do.
Doesn't that just give you a sense of the families, the people, the effort, the drive, the vision behind so many fantastic businesses? The full list of winners is up there on midlands103.com. Click on, you can see the full list, and you can see even all the fantastic businesses who were shortlisted in those awards. If you are looking for something to do this weekend and you're keen to learn about business, there's a fantastic event taking place in Eugene Kelly's this coming Friday, the 12th of June. And it's called Founders Friday, and it's brought to you by All Pro Recruitment and Tullamore and District Rotary Club. And in the hot seat on Friday evening is a certain Will Faulkner, because many of you know Will as the voice of Midlands 103 from Midlands Today. Will is also Managing Director of Midlands 103 and South East Radio. And his career really charts a journey into a newsroom, into daytime presenting and current affairs, a deep love of politics, of cars, but also a very, very shrewd business brain. And I'm not paid to say that, by the way. I mean, because you get a sense on Friday evening exactly what a life is like day to day for a managing director in a very vibrant sector, in a sector like so many places that was told, oh, it'll never survive the digital age. Radio is stronger in Ireland than it ever was. And that's thanks to the hard work of people like Will Faulkner and the teams behind him. So next Friday, 6:30pm to 8:30pm, Eugene Kelly's in Tullamore. If you just Google Founders Friday Will Faulkner, you'll find the Eventbrite link. Book your tickets because they're free and they are going very, very fast. Speaking of going very, very fast, I better vacate this hot seat. Joe Cooney is coming up next with Country Roads. Thank you to everybody who came on with me this evening. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you all soon.